Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Football. The Champions League round of 16 draw has been made. We now know which team will face off against which team in the round of 16. Obviously, it's still a bit of time until then. There's still 2 months between now and the time the fixtures are going to be played. So a lot can happen, but we will be going through the first draft. So first I'll be talking about a little bit about the round of 16, the draw. I'm going through every fixture, and then I'll also be telling you guys the rule changes, like from the group stage to the round of 16, things are different. So there's a couple of things you need to know about the round of 16 while choosing your fantasy team. I'll be talking about that as well. And obviously at the end, I'll be doing a quick draft on this one. So as I said, this is the first draft. There's a lot that can happen between now and then. Players could make a miraculous comeback. Players like Julian Timber, players like Militao and Courtois could make a miraculous comeback, and they're back by the time these fixtures are played in February and March. We could have more injuries, unfortunately. I would expect more injuries, so there will be a bit of, if you pick a player, might not be there by then. Transfers, players could leave their teams in January. For example, Osimhen has been linked to the move away from Napoli. We might not have him to choose next year as well. He might have already moved away from Napoli. He could be in a different Champions League team as well. So you never know. There's the Asian Cup and the AFCON in January and February as well. A lot can happen in that too. But for now, this is just the first draft, maybe to just get your team ready. And then by then, you're just going to make the transfers that you need or anything you notice by then. Teams could pick up form. You might find Man City have won 10 games by then. You might find Real Madrid have lost 4 games in a row by then. Very unlikely, but you know what I mean. Like by then, you might have a different idea on how your team is looking or you want your team to look. So those are the kind of things you need to look out for. But this is just for fun. The first draft that you're going to do is just for fun. But in terms of the Champions League draw, we do have, before I come to the rules that changed and everything. So Copenhagen will take on Man City. We will have, I think that's a very good fixture for Man City. Most of the teams in Pot A are really happy. Leipzig will take on Real Madrid. PSG, Real Sociedad, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, Lazio, Bayern, PSV, Dortmund, FC Porto, Arsenal, and Napoli, Barcelona. So those are the fixtures. There was a chance that you could have gotten Bayern against PSG. We might have gotten maybe a Man City against Inter Milan. There was a couple of chances of that happening. But most of the teams, Man City ended up with a good fixture. You can have a couple of their players. PSG, despite being in pot 2, they ended up with a good fixture as well. Real Sociedad have been great. I mean, for you people who play UCL fantasy, we all know how good Real Sociedad has been. So for the people who just don't watch La Liga and they don't play Champions League fantasy, they're like, yeah, PSG are going to win this easily. But you all know, like, Real Sociedad can turn up and eliminate PSG easily in this one. PSV Dortmund is a close one. Inter Milan Atletico, I'm sure you're going to get a 0-0 somewhere there. First leg, second leg, I have no idea. Porto, Arsenal, and Napoli, Barcelona. So remember the group stage when you want to have Alvarez and you want to have Haaland and you also want Foden, but you also want one of the Man City defenders. You cannot do it because you only allowed 3 players. Well, not anymore. In the round of 16 now, in case you're new to this game, if you played it, you might know. But if you're new or if you don't remember, you're now allowed 4 players from each team if you want. So if you want to have 2 Man City defenders and 2 forwards, you can go for it. If you want to have Sane, Coman, Kane, and Kimmich, all of them in your team, you can do that as well. So the limit has changed from the group stage to the round of 16. You can now have you can now have 4 players from each team if you want. But Glenn, man, we don't have the money. We don't have the money for Kane and Sane and Kimmich. Don't you worry. In the round of 16 as well, your budget moves from 100 million to 105 million. So you now have an extra 5 million to spend on your team. They do that because most of the cheap players are eliminated by this stage. So it's mainly the big players and the expensive players who are in this stage. And I still think we would have been able to maneuver through it even with 100 million just to have like balanced teams and have a couple of differentials here and there. Players like Rico Lewis, even if he comes off the bench. But it makes sense that they added 5 million. They didn't add like 10 million or anything like that. And another thing that you need to know is before the second leg of the round of 16, you're now allowed 3 transfers, not 2. So if you make 4 transfers, that is only a -4 hit. So you'll have the three transfers. If you want to make more, it wouldn't add that much at all. So you allowed 3 transfers heading to the round of 16 second leg. But for now, remember, it's basically like you have a wildcard that you have to use right now. It's basically unlimited transfers. You can change your team without worrying about losing points. Right now, you can change your team as much as you want to, and I'll help you get through that. So the fixture dates have also been announced now. That's what I was waiting for before doing this video. In the round of 16, again, another thing I forgot to point out, you're now allowed, you can change your captain three times. So you can have a captain on the Tuesday, on the Wednesday, the next Tuesday, and the Wednesday. So the round of 16, usually the fixtures are not played in 1 week. So you have 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday, and then the following week, 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday. Same for the second leg. 2 games Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday. The next week, same. So basically, you can have a captain for Tuesday, you can have a captain on Wednesday, you can have a captain the next Tuesday and the next Wednesday. Ideally, you want your captain to deliver by Tuesday, Wednesday, so you don't really have to change it or focus on next week. And people who like to go for differentials, you can now have like two differentials at least. You can go for differential on the Tuesday and the Wednesday if you don't really have anyone who stands out in that week, and then in the next week you can go for the obvious ones as well. So the only worry about that is there's some fixtures which are on the same day. So on the Tuesday, the first Tuesday, we have Copenhagen against Man City, Leipzig against Real Madrid. So those 2 teams, Madrid and Man City, are going to play on the same day. So you have to choose whether you want to captain Haaland or you want to captain Bellingham or you want to captain Rodrigo, Vinicius, because they're all playing on the same day. The second day, we will have PSG against Real Sociedad, and we're going to have Lazio against Bayern Munich. So again, if you're a fan of captaining players like Mbappe, Sane, Kane, all on the same day. Some people would choose to, if your captain doesn't deliver on the Tuesday, I think it's safer to go for a Bellingham or a Haaland on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, PSG, Real Sociedad, Lazio, Bayern Munich, you can go for anyone really as well. Kane, Sane stand out, but if you feel like, nah, Lazio are not an easy team away from home, you can always go for a differential in a day like this, like Emre at PSG or something. The next Tuesday, we're going to have PSG, Dortmund, and then Inter Milan and Atletico Madrid, both of them on the same day. And then on the Wednesday, the last day, Porto, Arsenal, Napoli, Barcelona. So you can rewind that and listen to it again, or you can just go to the app and take a look at the fixtures. The fixtures will be updated, and it will be easier for you to check them out. Also, when you're picking your squad, you'll have the fixtures there, so you can know which teams you can go for on a particular day. Make sure not to go for the same goalkeeper or 2 goalkeepers who are playing on the same day, usual stuff like that. So with that said, with those fixtures confirmed and everything, as well as I've also told you guys about the captaincy as well, you can now go whichever way you want, and you can now pick your squad. So with that said, let's get into it. So just the first draft. We'll have more drafts coming up, obviously, mainly from the new year and stuff, mainly from the new year. Let's start with the goalkeepers. So the goalkeepers, there's one goalkeeper who has stood out the whole group stage, and that is Ramiro of Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad have kept, I think, 4 clean sheets in the group stage. Absolutely amazing. And where the hell is he? Let me sort out by points. He's very cheap. That's why you can't even find him on the list. So Ramiro at 4.1 million at the moment. If you already had him, I don't really have to pay that 4.1 million. He was 4 million in the group stage. So Ramiro, I think, stays in the team. Even though they have PSG, there's always a chance they could get something, or he could make a lot of saves, or even keep a clean sheet in one of those games, depending on their approach. The second goalkeeper I've gone for is Ter Stegen. He's currently injured, by then you expect him to be fit at 5.5 million. I usually don't like going for expensive goalkeepers. That could actually change. Is one of the this is obviously my set team. This is just a first draft for you guys to get an idea of which teams you should be going for. Ter Stegen is the other keeper I could go for. Obviously, I said go for the Inter Milan goalkeeper, the Arsenal goalkeeper. They're all absolutely good options. So those are the first 2 picks in the first draft. Ramiro and Ter Stegen. One of them will be playing on the first week, and the other one will be playing on the second week. So I think that is a good balance. Those are the goalkeepers. Defensively, I had to take some time to choose which defenders to pick on this draft. Again, a lot can happen between now and then. Maybe some teams will become better defensively defensively. But I have to pick a couple of players who've been really good already. So I'm going to go for Saliba as the first pick, playing against FC Porto now. As again, just like Sociedad, we all know how good FC Porto is. I'd not be surprised if Arsenal concede a couple of at FC Porto. But at the Emirates, I'd not be surprised if Arsenal kept a clean sheet. And Saliba is very good in terms of ball recoveries and things like that. And there's always a chance Arsenal can keep a clean sheet. So Saliba is the first pick defensively. Another defender who's done very, very well this season, I'm going to go for Schlotterbeck. Dortmund are going to be playing against PSV. He loves going forward, so that's another pick that I think can do absolutely well. Quite expensive, but I think is a good pick as well. I thought about Hakimi, I also thought about Molina, but I settled for Di Lorenzo. Has been great for Champions League teams the last 2 seasons, last season and this season as well. He always gets forward, always gets assists, always gets involved in goals as well. He can get you recovery points since he's going up and down on the right side. So another defender who's more than 5 million, but I think it's a good pick. Napoli obviously playing against Barcelona, the home fixture. Maybe might not expect a clean sheet, but I'd not be surprised like if he gets an attacking return. So Di Lorenzo is the next one. One that I've thought about, but he has a really, really tough fixture is David Rom. I've gone for him, but he has a tough fixture against Real Madrid. Again, David Rom takes the free kicks, he takes the corners, so that could help a lot. And he's currently selected by 7%. And the first fixture is at home. So if he doesn't do well there, then you can obviously take him out. Remember as well, you only have 3 transfers heading into the round of 16 second leg. So as we say, this is just the first draft. By that time, you'll have to really think about your team. Don't go for too many. If you expect Man City to eliminate Copenhagen and Real Madrid to eliminate Leipzig, it is probably tough or very risky to go for Xavi Simons and Rom, and you go for the Leipzig goalkeeper, and then you go for Copenhagen player. If they all get eliminated, it's going to be tough. So there's always a chance Real Madrid and Man City can be eliminated as well, and then you don't have any players, but that will apply to many people because many people will have those teams. But if you go for Copenhagen players and Lazio players, they're not highly owned, so you're going to be in trouble all by yourself. You're going to be in the gutter by yourself, so you need to watch out for that as well. So those are the things to think about by then. So in this draft, I'm not really taking all that into consideration. When you get closer to that, you'll take all that into consideration. So David Drum is the second, the fourth defender I've gone for. Lastly, I've had to go for Man City, quite cheap. Let's see, Nathan Ake. I've gone for Nathan Ake. Again, by then, Stones could be back in the fall, like playing all day, could be the one we go for, but for now, I've gone for Nathan Ake. So, an Arsenal defender, a Man City defender, a Dortmund defender, Napoli, and also Leipzig. Obviously, you can always decide to go for an Inter Milan defender or goalkeeper. Maybe by then I'll definitely go for one. You can go for Molina from Atletico Madrid, quite expensive. So that is why I had to find a way to get David Drum and Ake, because if you want all the big boys up front, you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere. So those are the defenders. Good balance in terms of that. So next up, let's go to the midfielders. Which midfielders should we be going for? Which midfielders have I picked in the first draft? So firstly, I think you have to have Bellingham. He's just amazing. And against Leipzig, I'm expecting a high-scoring game. So Bellingham is the first pick in the team. He's been amazing, man. He's already scored 50 points. He's currently selected by 75%. So if you don't have him, you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Second midfielder I've gone for is Bukayo Saka, another one who's been incredible this season. I think he has 7 attacking returns. He's tied for first in the Champions League this season. I think was it Bellingham there or someone? I know Saka is number 1 on that list, so he's always going to deliver for you. It's quite expensive, 9.8 million. He's selected by 25%. I think Saka is the pick that I've gone for, and he always plays for Arsenal as well, and he takes the penalties. He's currently injured on the app, but he's fit. We watched him play the other day. Galeno is the next pick I've gone for. Now, I've said Arsenal can easily keep a clean sheet, but Galeno has been on absolutely great form this season. In the Champions League, you just have to have him in the team just in case he scores. Now, that is the one player that you can decide whether you want him or Brais Mendes at Real Sociedad. He will be fit by then as well. So those are the kind of things you need to decide on. Galeno is the next pick in midfield. Next up, I've gone for a differential. This is what I've gone for, kind of a differential. PSG against Real Sociedad, I've gone for Emery. He is currently selected by 3%. I think he will be a good pick at only 5.3 million. He's an enabler. In that position, you can also go for Rodri or Rice, cheaper players who they'll actually get you assists and goals here and there whenever they bomb forward. So those are the two as well, and recovery points too. The last midfield I've gone for is Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich have a good fixture. I don't think Lazio is going to be easy for them away from home. I could see like a 2-1 or something. But Kimmich, in terms of recovery points and all that, I think is one of the highest scoring players so far this season, 32 points and 20% selected. He's usually very good. Let me check how many yellow cards he's picked up this season. I'm not sure how many yellow cards he's picked up, but let me just confirm that. He hasn't picked up a yellow card. That's actually good. 2 assists. He's gotten 34 ball recoveries. He's been voted player of the match. So in those fixtures, if you want a cheaper way to Bayern Munich's midfield, it's going to be Kimmich, because Sane, Gnabry, and Coman are all quite expensive. So Kimmich is the next midfielder. Lastly, let's go to the forward players. Once again, just like Bellingham, you've got to have Haaland. But first, let me put Harry Kane there. It's absolutely incredible. You can go for Son in midfield if you don't really want Harry Kane, but Harry Kane always scores, man. And by then, I'm sure he's just going to keep scoring and scoring and scoring. He's absolutely amazing. He takes the penalties as well. And then Man City, Erling Haaland for sure. I mean, in the round of 16 last season, did he score like 5 goals against Leipzig in last season's round of 16? He can easily do it again. And I'm going to go for his partner, Alvarez. That's the other one I'll go for. So those are 3 Man City players. Remember, you can go for 4 Man City players if you prefer. This will leave with a bit of money in the bank, but it's just the first draft. Remember, a lot can happen by then. There's players I've left out that have like you should definitely consider having them. Players like Brez Mendes, if by then he's fit. Mbappe, PSG. Atletico Madrid, they've scored the most goals in the Champions League this season. Morata, Griezmann, Molina at the back as well, another good option. If you want a little bit more expensive goalkeeper, you can always go for Oblak or Ederson, all those guys. Odegaard if you prefer from Arsenal, Foden if you prefer from Man City. All of those guys are very good options. If you look at the fixture between Bayern and Lazio, you can always go for Leroy Sané, PSV, Dortmund, whoever you're going to go for. I think that is a match where you can pick a differential like a De Jong up front. You can pick like a Brandt from Dortmund. Inter Milan, Atletico defensively, Sommer. You can go for Damian or Dumfries if they're fit by then. Atletico Madrid as well. Napoli, Barcelona, you can always go for... I don't think there's too many, but if you prefer Kvaratskhelia, if you feel like they're going to beat Barcelona, there's a lot of options. But you now have 105 million. You can now have 4 players from each team if you want. And you can make 3 transfers before the second leg. And you have 4 captain picks, so it has to work out. Surely your captain is going to deliver. If you have a captain on Tuesday, Wednesday, and they all don't deliver, maybe you should delete the app and quit the game. I'm just joking. But Copenhagen, Man City, let's say you pick Haaland, and then the next day you pick Bellingham. If they all don't deliver, next week you have the choice of going for an Inter Milan or Atletico Madrid player. You can go for an Arsenal, Barcelona, Napoli player, whichever you want.